Hello guys, my name is Mohd Fahad Asis Khan. I am from Medicaps Institute of Science and Technology, Indore. I have presented this video as an assignment of an online course from Skyfi Labs. In this video, I am going to explain the design, analysis and the working of my project, which I have made in the evaluation version 2018 of ETABS software. So let's start the video by seeing the problem statement. Here is a problem statement in which we have a 23-storied tall building to be designed. The building has varied geometry from 1 to 8, 9 to 14, 15 to 18 and 20th to 23rd story as shown in the plan figures of the building. Here are the available frame sections for beams, columns and slab. That is, slab is 150 mm thick. We have the beam sections of 500 by 300, 550 by 350 and 600 by 400. We have column sections of 500 by 500, 550 by 550 and 600 by 600. From these different sections of columns and beams, the software will select the optimum section by using the auto select tool. Load cases will be dead load, live load and wind load. Dead load will be simultaneously applied to all the stories, as we can see that it is same throughout the building, and live load is varying, so it will be applied individually for each set of similar stories, that is 1 to 8, 9 to 14, 15 to 19 and 20th to 23rd story. Wind load will be applied in accordance with the criteria and standards given in IS 875-1987 for Bangalore region of India. A distributed load of 0.2 kN per meter will be applied on the cladding. The cladding for the building will be drawn by using auto draw cladding option and using floors for drawing the cladding. So here are the summarized steps involved in the modeling. First of all, we will define the geometry, material properties, frame sections and load patterns to be used. Then we will draw all the frame sections and assign the loads as per the problem statement. After complete modeling, we will run analysis on the building, as a result of which we will get bending moment diagram, shear force diagram and the deformed shape of each and every frame section. Then we will run the design check to get the listed outputs. Now let's start the modeling. To create a new project, go to File menu and click on New Model, or just simply press Ctrl+N on keyboard. But we need not to make a new model, as I have already modeled the building, so let's go to our already created model. So here is the analyzed view of the building in front of us. The first step is to define all the materials, that is M40 grade concrete, HYSD 500 and mild 250 grade steel rebar. So go to define menu, then click on material properties, and we can see that the model is already analyzed, so it is logged. So first we have to unlock the model by clicking on this icon and clicking on OK. Then now we can define the materials by going to define menu, clicking on material properties and clicking on add new material. Here is the list of all the defined materials, where I have defined M40 grade concrete, HYSD 500 grade rebar and mild 250 grade rebar. After defining all the materials, just click on OK to exit this dialog box. Now to define the frame sections, go to define menu and this time click on section properties and go to frame sections. In this dialog box, if we want to define a new frame section, whether it is a beam or column, then we have to click on add new property option. But here I have defined all the beams and columns, that is column 500 by 500, column 550 by 550 and column 600 by 600. Then there are beam sections of 500 by 300, 550 by 350 and 600 by 400. We also have the auto select lists for both the beams and columns, so that we can get the optimum design out of these sections. Also we can use the add copy of property option to define similar sections instead of adding new property again and again, as we have done in case of beams and columns. Similarly, we can define the slab section of 150 mm thickness and M40 grade concrete. Now the last definition required is that of load cases. So we will similarly go to the define menu, and from this drop down list we will select the load cases option. Now in this dialog box, as you can see that I have already defined the dead load, live load and wind load which is to be applied on the building. Now the next step is to draw all these defined elements. For this, go to draw menu and click on draw beams, columns, brace objects. From the drop down list, select quick draw options for both the beams and columns one by one separately for each set of similar stories. Now to draw the slabs, again go to draw menu and this time select draw floor wall objects option and then select quick draw floor walls from the drop down list and follow the procedure for each set of similar stories separately. After all the sections are drawn, the next step is to apply the loads. First of all, the dead load will be applied by going to assign menu and clicking on uniform under the shell loads option. The dead load will be applied simultaneously to all the stories as it is uniform throughout the building. As the live load is different for different sets of stories, so we cannot apply it to all the stories simultaneously. So now by navigating through these arrow keys, we will go to first set of our stories, that is story 1 to 8. Then select the similar stories option from the right bottom corner and similarly go to the assign menu and select uniform option from the shell loads drop down list. Now after applying the live load to first set of stories, then go to the next set of stories by navigating through these arrow keys. So here we are on the next set of stories, that is story 9 to 14. This is story 10 from the set. Here also follow the same procedure of applying the live load to this set of stories. That is, again click on similar stories option, then go to assign menu and select uniform option under the shell loads drop down list. After assigning the live load to all the sets, similarly now cladding load will be applied by selecting distributed under the frame loads option. The next step is to draw the cladding by selecting auto draw cladding option under the draw menu and clicking on OK while use floor options being selected. Now the last load to be applied is wind load. For this, click on elevation button to get the list of all the elevation sections of the building. Then apply the wind load to each and every section according to the IS 875. After application of all the loads, we will run analysis on our building by going to analyze menu and clicking on run analyze button or simply pressing the F5 button on keyboard. As the building is very big, the analysis will take some time. We can see the progress of analysis in the bottom left corner of the screen. As a result of analysis, we get deformed shape of building where we can see the displacement values of sections by hovering the cursor on them. We can also visualize other things like bending moment diagram, shear force diagram, etc. by going to display menu and selecting force stress diagrams and clicking on frame forces. We can alternatively press F8 key on the keyboard to get this dialog box. In this, for example, we can see moment at 3-3 section or the moment at 2-2 section or shear force at 3-3 section. Also, we can see the fill diagrams or the diagrams which will show the values of bending moment or the shear force, whichever will be selected. Now the analysis is complete and we can go for the design check, but before design check, make sure preferences are set to IS 456. After this, go to design menu and under concrete frame design option, select start design check or simply press shift plus F6 key on the keyboard. Now the design is complete, and now we will check whether the design is safe or not by clicking on verify all members passed. This notification signifies that the building is safe. As a output we get project report as shown. Finally, we have the reinforcement details of all the frame sections, which can be viewed by zooming in and zooming out of the 3D view. The project report will be obtained under the reports section as shown here. At last, I would like to thank the Skyfi Labs team for giving me this wonderful opportunity to learn the software. So thank you and keep smiling.